Good evening and welcome to the June 7th, 2023 meeting of the City Council. We'll call the meeting to order. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you. We'll start off with Councilmember Bernasconi is excused tonight. Councilmember Elverd.
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Here.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Here.
And Mayor Haldeshelt. Thank you.
And Vice Mayor Bernasconi is at a planning conference with the Greater Sacramento Economic Development Council, so that is her excuse. Hallie Romero, would you lead us in the pledge?
That's her excuse.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And now I'll ask the clerk, I'll wait for everybody to sit down. I'll ask the clerk to announce the meeting procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Roseville's June 7th City Council meeting. If you're present here tonight and have not already picked up an agenda, they are available at the end of the staff table to your right. As a reminder, the Brown Act does prohibit our City Council from taking action or discussing items that are not listed on tonight's agenda. For public comment, each speaker will be provided with 3 minutes at the podium on non-agendized items. The maximum allotted time for this portion of our agenda is 25 minutes. Speakers that would like to comment on items appearing on the agenda tonight will have 5 minutes to express their comments and concerns to our City Council. Time will be monitored, and once the red light blinks at the podium, we request that the speaker conclude their comments. Lastly, if you address the City Council tonight, please consider stating your name for the record. With that, thank you for your civic participation tonight, and welcome to the City of Roseville.
Thank you very much, and we'll move right into public comments. These are public comments on items not listed on the agenda. I have one speaker card from Lauren Meeks Harris.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Meeks Harris, and I just wanted to do is a quick thank you to the City of Roseville for the maintenance crew, particularly by Caseburg Park. Pretty much thank you for dusting off the stop signs, the stop areas. I don't know if my little improv coming to City Council to say, hey, people are speeding. It was nice to see the roads crews, and even the police department has increased their kind of just stopping, looking around in that area. And I appreciate though school is out, there are plenty of dog walkers and there's plenty of joggers and people like me who just enjoy walking in our local parks without being a human speed bump. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else want to make public comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move next to our consent calendar, and I'll ask the clerk to announce the procedures for approving the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So all matters on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be approved by one motion of the City Council. There will be no discussion on consent calendar items unless a member of the City Council, the staff, or a member of the public requests that a specific item be pulled for further discussion. At this time, neither council or staff has made such a request. Is there anyone in the public here tonight that would like to pull an item for further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Mayor. For tonight's consent calendar, the City Council will consider items 6.1 through 6.37 on consent. And at this time, may I please have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Councilmember Elverd.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
Mayor Haldeshelt.
Yes,
And thank you. And the record will reflect that Councilmember Bernasconi has been excused.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move to special requests, reports, and presentations. 7.1, Council Discretionary Funds, Roseville Crime Stoppers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item, we received a request for City Council funding of $2,000 consideration for the discretionary funds for Roseville Crime Stoppers. It is to support their annual 4th of July fun run that is held here at downtown Roseville each year and coincides with our city parade. The proceeds from the runners' fees and sponsorships is used for cash rewards for information leading to arrest and convictions in serious crimes committed here in the city of Roseville. In addition, some of the funding goes to scholarships for Roseville youth pursuing careers in public safety and to provide community education. Tonight, we have Ms. Hallie Romero, a member of the Board for Crime Stoppers, here tonight should the council have any further questions.
I'll ask first if the council has any questions about the presentation.
Not for me.
I have one.
You have a question? Okay.
And Hallie, I just want to ask if the Crime Stoppers have submitted through the Grants Advisory Committee for this program that happens every single year, and it seems like it's a really good benefit. Have you guys been going through, trying to do a grants application? Is that why you're before us today? It didn't go through, or?
They don't go through the grant, They don't go through the grant application process, and I do have a response to that. We have requested these discretionary funds to support rather than the grants because direct sponsorships are not allowed under the grant requirements. In addition, we feel that having the city itself sponsor the event shows a strong partnership between our organization and the city as we continue to drive attendance to the parade downtown Roseville, as well as provide fiscal support to the police department and increasing public safety.
It's a good answer to that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions of Ms. Romero? I'll open it up for, do you want to make any additional comments?
I think in the introduction, we talked about what Crime Stoppers does for the city. I think this fun run crime out of Roseville is such a great support. This is our only fundraiser that we do, along with sponsorships and donations. So we hope that, first of all, that you'll join us on July 4th to run if you can, and also to support us in this way. We are proud of the fact that over the 30 years Crime Stoppers has served this community, we have provided several $1,000s in rewards that led to over 100 convictions and tens of thousands of dollars in recovery of property. This run being our primary fundraising event, we hope to be able to continue this program and with your help.
All right, thank you very much. I'll ask if there is any other public comment on this item. If there's not, I'll close public comment and inquire if the council has any additional questions.
Nope.
All right, I'll ask the clerk to read the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 7.1, the City Council will consider approving council discretionary funds in the amount of $2,000 to support Crime Stoppers' annual 4th of July fun run. At this time, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start a roll call with Councilmember Albert.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
Mayor Haudashelt.
Yes, and I'm in training.
Thank you, with Vice Mayor Berlusconi being excused.
All right, next up is item 7.2, Roseville Transit Arrow presentation. I'll ask the staff to make. Good evening, Mr. Shaikowski, Mr. Schofield.
Good evening, Mayor Haudashelt and members of the council. My name is Jason Shaikowski. I'm your Public Works Director, and with me tonight is Ed Schofield, the city's Alternative Transportation Manager. And he'd like to share a short presentation introducing council to the city's newest and coolest public transportation option, the Arrow. So take it away, Ed.
All right. Thanks, Jason. Mayor Haudashelt, members of the council, I'm excited to be here this evening to promote Roseville's new microtransit service called Arrow. This project's been in development for several years now, and it's finally up and running in the streets of Roseville. Before I get into the details, I thought it would be helpful to give some background on the subject. What is microtransit? Microtransit is a widely used term in the transit industry that describes on-demand shuttle service using smaller transit vehicles such as Roseville's cutaway buses or vans. Passengers request rides on a smartphone, a computer, or by phone. The rides are then scheduled using the software provided by a microtransit company. Microtransit is similar to services offered by Uber and Lyft. There are many reasons why microtransit is growing in popularity and is becoming a common service offered by transit agencies around the world. A few of the reasons that make microtransit a smart option include that microtransit is flexible. It offers an on-demand option that can accommodate flexible work schedules that have become more prevalent since the COVID pandemic. Microtransit excels at improving customer experience for existing transit riders by providing point-to-point service, as well as the opportunity to track the arriving vehicle in real time. Microtransit can create a more welcoming and efficient experience for many riders. And lastly, microtransit can fulfill community transportation needs for safety, affordability, accessibility, and flexibility. So how we got here, staff began discussing microtransit implementation in 2020. Around that time, Roseville began working with the other South Placer bus operators to make this idea a reality. Roseville Transit, Placer County Transit, Auburn Transit, and the Placer County Transportation Planning Agency participated in a joint procurement to select a vendor to provide microtransit software and technology. The requests for proposals were released in December of 2021. We received 9 proposals in January 2022, and an evaluation panel from Roseville, Auburn, Placer County, and Placer County Transportation Planning Agency selected Spare Labs to provide the microtransit service or software. Spare signed a 3-year contract with Roseville last year, and then separate contracts were also signed to provide services in Rockland and Lincoln. Spare Labs has been in business for 7 years now. They currently operate within 100 transportation systems worldwide and 65 in North America. The agencies that they are working with include, as you can see on the list there, Dallas, Ashland, Kansas City, Lincoln, Calaveras County, and Reno. Spare is a global company with offices in Vancouver, Barcelona, Tokyo, and Oslo. Spare provides a complete set of tools that work together to provide the most advanced microtransit solution. So what does that mean? And looking at this slide here, you'll see that there are multiple operator and rider conveniences. The first one is an administrative panel that we use to enable Roseville Transit to, among other things, track where the buses are at any time during the day. There's a rider app, and that's downloaded by passengers to schedule rides, pay for rides, and monitor the arrival of their bus. There's a driver app that enables the bus operator to see who will be riding, how they're paying, and easy-to-follow directions to the next stop. And then there's also a rider website that enables passengers to book a ride, pay for a ride, and monitor the ride. So what is Arrow? Arrow is, in a nutshell, on-demand transit in the palm of your hand. Beginning in late January, Roseville Transit Arrow replaced Roseville's dial-a-ride and paratransit service. At this point, we're attempting to do away with the phrase dial-a-ride because very few people actually dial anymore to request a ride. The photo you see here is one of our cutaway buses with the Arrow wrap. These have traditionally been our dial-a-ride buses, which are now being converted to Arrow buses. Arrow combines the convenience and flexibility of ride-hailing services such as Uber and Lyft with the capacity and affordability of traditional transit. You get the same Roseville Transit professional drivers, and there's no surge pricing or same-day fares. Arrow fares stay the same no matter when you ride. Jump to the next slide. Thanks. So there are multiple ways to ride on Arrow. The easiest way to do it is to download the app. The app is available as the Go South Placer app at the Apple App Store or Google Play. The app works not just for Roseville, but for Placer County Transit in Lincoln and Rockland. This screenshot just shows the 3 service areas of Roseville, Rockland, and Lincoln. And this is what you'll see when you're opening the app or when you're on the computer to schedule a ride. If you look at it closely, there are some overlap areas. For instance, Placer County Transit can travel into the Galleria, and that's a pretty popular stop, and it's also an area where we do a number of transfers. So there are some overlap areas. Once the passenger downloads the app and enters their profile information, next slide, sorry. Once the passenger downloads the app and enters the profile information, they can schedule a ride. This slide shows the various windows you'll see when you're booking a ride. First window asks you where you want to go. Once you enter the start and end points, you'll have the second window here, which shows the approximate pickup time. At this point, you'll have a few options on the bottom of that screen. First one is how many riders. Is there 1, 2, 3, 4? The second thing you'll answer, are there any special requests? Do you have a wheelchair or do you have a bike? Things like that. The third one is there's a payment option. You can pay with a registered credit card when you did your profile, or you can simply say you'll pay with cash when you board. And then the last one is the schedule box, and it gives you the following options. You can book the ride as soon as possible. You can book the ride to leave at a specific time, or you can book it to arrive at your destination by a specific time. And the last option is an important one for those if you have to be to work at a certain time, or if you have a doctor's appointment or something like that. Once the options are entered, the rider confirms their ride, which brings them to the third window you see there. And this third window is where you'll see when the bus is arriving, where to pick it up, and also allows the rider to track the bus and the real-time location of the bus. The tracking of the bus begins once it's coming to get you, and not necessarily when it's on its way to pick up other people. Using Arrow is meant to be an easy process. Passengers wishing to ride Arrow have multiple options when scheduling a ride. While using the app is the preferred method, we realize not everyone has a smartphone or that they want to use it for that purpose. Because of this, passengers can also go online using their computer to book a ride, or they can call our dispatch and book a ride as well. They can book a ride up to 2 weeks in advance. The cost to ride Arrow is $3.75 or for regular public, or $2.50 for seniors and disabled. There's a 30-minute pickup window, 15 minutes before and after the determined pickup time in which the vehicle may arrive. Once scheduled, passengers need to be ready for the Arrow during your designated pickup window. Using the app, passengers can track their current location, as I've mentioned, and receive ride notifications when the bus is near. Lastly, this is a pooled service, which means that you may be sharing your ride with other passengers, and the bus may do an additional stop or two before dropping you off. The Spare technology platform is what manages the pickup and drop-off process to make it as efficient as possible for all passengers. So since we began offering this in late January, Arrow's carried over 5,600 riders through May 31st of this year. This graph just simply shows a small sample size of our monthly ridership before and after Arrow. The blue lines represent ridership prior to Arrow, and the red lines show ridership since implementing the Spare technology. We're happy to see the increases, but our hope is that we will see more as time goes on. And as people become more aware of the service, and which should lead us to more riders. And then, while we are excited about the service, the introduction of microtransit to Roseville and its future within the city, there are a few challenges we continue to work to resolve that are worth mentioning. One key challenge right now is driver shortages. This is a challenge facing all transit operators throughout the country right now. The driver shortages impact the number of vehicles that we can have running Arrow at one time. So if demand were to increase significantly, we could have some challenges having the resources to meet this demand. Our transit operator, MV Transit, is working hard behind the scenes to get operators trained, but it continues to be a challenge not only to get new operators, but also to retain the existing ones. Another issue is our vehicle reliability. The Arrow routes are currently being serviced by the existing cutaway or smaller buses, as you saw earlier. The majority of these vehicles were purchased in 2009 and have exceeded their useful lives. Because of this, we're seeing a number of these vehicles being in the shop or not available for service. Staff has received a federal grant to replace all these vehicles with electric vehicles. However, the new vehicles aren't expected to arrive until next year, 2024. So until then, we've taken some internal steps to allow for some newer ADA-compatible minivans to provide the service until the new vehicles arrive. So the above two challenges can result in excessive passenger wait times, which have been experienced. However, staff is working hard to make sure that these don't happen in the future as people try to or want to ride the system. And looking ahead, just a couple points there. Microtransit service is now offered anywhere within the city. So one of the questions we ask is how will this, or people will ask is how does that impact our fixed route service? Staff will be examining this issue as part of the upcoming Roseville Transit Comprehensive Operational Analysis, which will look at all aspects of the city's transit service over the next 12 to 18 months. Additionally, we have a 3-year contract with Spare, so this is considered a pilot program to see how microtransit performs within our city. Combining the COA, or the Comprehensive Operational Analysis, and the pilot program schedule, we will attempt to find the proper balance between the two services so they can be complementary in nature and not competitive. The last thing I want to mention has to do with vehicles. As I referenced, our current buses used for Aero service are scheduled to be replaced. The federal grant to replace the vehicles specifically called for the same style of 28-foot paratransit cutaway buses that are currently being used. However, through research and discussion with other transit agencies that use microtransit, staff believes that switching from buses to vans to run Aero will be more advantageous to the city. So the vans have lower costs, the perception from the users is more positive compared to a paratransit bus, and the vehicles can access more parts of the city that a bus would be unable to get to. Because of this, staff worked with the Federal Transit Administration to modify the grant to allow for the purchase of vans instead of small buses. And just earlier this week, we were notified that we were successful in this request. So we will now be pursuing electric vans, which will be running this service in the future. And the next slide is a picture of the van, a rendering of what will be running this service here in the near future. So before concluding my report, I just wanted to show the council a short 30-second video promoting Aero.
Try Roseville Transit Aero, on-demand transit in the palm of your hands. Formerly known as Dial-A-Ride, Aero offers affordable convenience, professional drivers, and no-surge pricing or same-day fares. Anyone can ride Aero throughout Roseville for as little as $2.50 each way. Regional connections are available. Book your trip by using the Go, South Pass, or mobile app, your browser, or call 916-745-7560.
And that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Great. Councilwoman Rakucci, any questions?
Maybe just a comment. I think that's exciting. I like the fact that you're wheelchair accessible. You can help. People can ride the buses on that, and 8 to 5 the hours and 7 days a week. I think it's going to be something people would like to use.
Member Mendoza.
I was actually looking on the app while you were talking. So long-term, I see the regional and the connections, and I appreciate the explanation on the overlap that you pointed out in places like the Galleria. But if our residents at some point were looking to utilize this, to back and forth to the airport, for instance, is there any, because we have commuter buses right now that go into Sacramento, but obviously that wouldn't be the same as an airport shuttle. Is there any other regions that are using this concept that we are, like Aero, that incorporate that into their, into the app or into the ability to be able to utilize airport pickup and drop off?
None that I'm aware of, but I know it would be part of a discussion, I think as part of the comprehensive operational analysis. We're actually looking at, one of the items is looking at bus service to the airport versus microtransit, but I think you bring up a good point where we could probably look at both of them and see if there's any feasibility.
The only reason I ask is there would be that redundancy, right? Because our commuter buses already have the overlap. We're already going into the various endpoints. Would there be an opportunity, and like you say, maybe that's something we look at down the road, but for Aero to maybe mimic that, if the demand was there. Obviously, I'm not looking to spend money that we don't need to, but, and the other thing is, a comment, I remember being on the Transportation Commission, I came on a few years after they implemented these Dial-A-Ride buses, and the build to that was super slow. The Game Day Express was another, extremely slow build. It's very encouraging to see the numbers that you put up on that slide, and how this is being received by our residents at this particular point, given how slow some of the other things that we brought to market, how long they took to come to fruition. It's really nice that this is being so well received. So that's encouraging, and hopefully this will grow beyond what we planned, and we do have that problem of how do we expand it and where do we go. So great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Albert.
Yeah, I second on the airport thing. I hear that a lot, people griping about not being able to get to the airport. So a couple questions. In the map, I noticed it looked like there were islands. One was in Rockland for sure. I was trying to catch it right at the end to see if there were others. What are the islands out there, and why isn't transit going to those areas?
Well, I guess I'd have to look closely at it. Some of the islands are actually schools because they don't offer service to the schools.
I think he was talking about Sierra
Sierra
College.
College? Sierra College?
There's Sierra
Okay, I wasn't
College,
sure.
and then there's Sutter Hospital. So Placer County's version of the Arrow can come into Sutter County, bring people from Rockland and Lincoln, and then we can take people out to Sierra College. So that's where some of those overlaps are occurring. So that's part of the mapping of the system, so it knows where to allow buses to go.
Okay, so those are, okay, so Sutter, and okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you. The kids' bus passes, I heard something recently about kids' bus passes for the summer. Do those work on this kind of bus, or are those on the fixed route?
Those are on the fixed route
Okay.
only. That's the summer youth pass.
And then on the driver requirements, these are full city employee drivers, right?
MV Transit operates it, and they're under contract with the city of Roseville. So they're not officially city employees.
So they're having a hard time finding drivers? Okay,
Yes.
got it. Okay. All right, and then I was excited about the phone number. The first comment I wrote down is like, what happens to these people that don't have computers and stuff? So as long as they have a phone number, somebody will help them arrange the ride, and they take payment over the phone or something for it, or?
In that case, it's typically they pay cash when they board.
Okay.
So, and we do get the majority of our calls right now, or our reservations are made on phone. We're just trying to get people more used to using the app, and so we're thinking a slow transition because some of the people are just used to always doing it via phone.
Okay. Well, thank you. Great presentation.
I want to follow up on that last question. So can you pay with EBT? Or is it just credit card, or I mean?
It's credit card or cash.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think EBT would work, but that's not to say we couldn't try to expand it. We're always working with Spare and the other transit agencies to try to expand what we do with the goal of trying to make it as easy and as convenient to the riders as we can.
Yeah, I know the Capital Corridor program just launched a Tap to Ride program on the commuter rails, and they've been piloting that, and I think that question came up as well. When you said Ashland, was that Ashland, Oregon, or Ashland somewhere else?
And Oregon is what?
Well, I'll have to leave the meeting and go to Oregon now. Okay. And 250 to the airport is, yeah, I could take that all day long, okay? Anyway, thank you. We'll open up for public comment.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Meeks Harris, and I have a question regarding the app. I too, like Council Member Trace Mendoza, was playing with the app as you were speaking. Just because I had an issue trying to find it during the budget meeting. I'm glad that you finally put out the go. But my question is, so every time on the app, if somebody's an expert here on the app, I notice you have to put in a verification code. You don't have like a set password. When you register, I just registered and everything. Let's say, and I know it's after hours, and I was pretending to like put a ride in to see what would happen. And of course, it's after hours. But I noticed when I went to go log back in, it sent me a verification code versus setting up versus like let's say Lyft or Uber. You either can stay logged in, or you can even do is have a set password.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The verification code could be sent the first time you set up the account so they can confirm it's you. But
I
beyond that,
just
I'm
did
not
it a
familiar.
couple of times
Yeah.
just to re-log back in
That
to
hasn't
see.
occurred to me, so I don't know. Maybe we need to look into it a little closer. Maybe there's some
Okay.
other issue going on.
Okay. I have an Apple, so.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I have too.
So on that, it did that to me the first time. If you refresh your browser, the cookies.
And I did.
Yeah.
I don't know if
It
it's
took it
just
2
me.
times, but mine caught the second time.
Not only do you get to do public comment, but you get tech support up there.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be the city's guinea pig, I guess, on this, but thank you.
Any other public comment? I will close public comment, inquire if the council has any additional questions. All right, this was an informational only item. Thank you. Great to see those numbers up there. All right. We're going to move next into the public hearing portion of our evening, and the first item up is 8.1, fiscal year 2023-24 2024 landscaping and lighting district assessments and amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report, ordering the levy and collection of assessments. I'm going to start by opening the public hearing. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Howdeshelt and council members. My name is Dennis Kaufman, Assistant City Manager and Chief Financial Officer. Tonight we're talking about our landscaping and lighting districts, which are formed to provide funding by levying assessments on property tax bills for ongoing maintenance and operation of landscaping and lighting improvements that are located within the public right-of-way or on dedicated easements located within each of the districts. On May 3rd of this year, the City Council approved resolutions to initiate the proceedings for the annual levy of the assessments for the city's 8 landscaping and lighting districts and to take the related actions that are required. Tonight is the noticed public hearing before council considers approving the resolutions to levy the assessments for next fiscal year. The public hearing is the final action required by state law that allows the public to comment on the proposed assessments. The assessments are based on engineers' reports that are prepared for each of the 8 districts. Combined, the city's landscaping and lighting districts are expected to generate about $1.7 million in revenue next fiscal year to fund maintenance and operations of landscape and lighting improvements within the public rights-of-way and those dedicated easements. So tonight, staff is recommending that council open the public hearing and then approve resolutions for each of the 8 landscaping and lighting districts for fiscal year 2023-2024, providing approval of those engineer annual levy reports and ordering the levy and collection of the assessments. And I am available to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman, for your presentation. Council members, any questions on these 8 lighting and landscaping district assessments? Councilman Albert?
I see that we have several that had no increase, but we had 2 that had very significant increases. I was wondering if you could just address those publicly. Olympus Point and Riverside.
The 2 that had larger increases are building up reserves to make some larger improvements over the next couple of years, whereas the couple that have 0 increases, in one case, the district doesn't have any inflation adjustment built into the district, and so our funding is limited. But you'll also notice those 2 that have the larger increases, we're still well below the maximum assessment amount for those districts.
Thank you.
All right. Councilwoman Rakucci, any questions?
No questions.
Councilmember Mendoza, any questions?
No, Mayor, thank you.
All right, I'll open it up for public comment.
Hello, Lauren Meeks Harris. I have a question. Where could the public just get those 8 areas that you're seeking approval for? I know this has probably already been out there, but for people who fall asleep at the wheel or haven't been necessarily paid attention until it's in front of the council. So if people later on, after they'll most likely approve it, can go look at those areas.
Yeah, I'm going to start with an answer, and then you tell me where I got it right and where you need to supplement it. But each in our agenda package, which has a hyperlink in the electronic version, are detailed engineering. I mean, that is about a pound of our agenda package, but each of the 8 districts has a detailed engineering levy report, and including, I recall, specific APNs and maps. I think there's a map in there as well. So, okay.
Just add that the nice thing about the engineer's report is it has a lot of detail about how these are formed and how the money is spent. It's a lot of great information included in your council agenda packet.
Great. All right. Any other public comments? I'll close public comment, and I'll bring it back to the council. I'll also close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to council for any final questions.
No.
I do have one, right? So each of these has its own in a lighting and landscaping district. Would you tell us, just for the viewing audience, what gets contained in a lighting and landscaping district?
It's a geographical area within the city
Right.
where we collect assessments on the property tax bills to fund operation and maintenance of lighting or landscaping within the public rights of way within that district. So could be streetscapes, could be landscaping.
So I live in the Summerhill neighborhood. There's a monument sign going into that. There's some lights in the landscaping bed that shoots up. There's letters. So there's money that's put aside so that when that needs to be fixed, right?
Right.
And you draw from that money in the lighting and landscaping district to fix that, or just to do the maintenance that goes along with separated sidewalks and other things like that. Right?
Correct. In these 8 areas of the city.
Right.
And then in some of the newer areas of the city, we have community facilities districts, which operate similarly to provide funding for maintenance.
There's some street hardware associated with that, like benches and other, that's also included in that.
Be included in the community facilities districts, maybe not in the landscaping and lighting districts.
Great.
Can I just add quickly, because there's an authorized service for every CFD, Community Facilities District, and it's outlined what you can maintain with that. So some benches may be included, but some may not.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much for that. All right. All right. Are you ready? You're going to have to, this is going to be a long one for you to read, isn't it? Okay. Can I get the motion?
Thank you. On item 8.1, the City Council will consider adopting Resolution Number 23-240, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the Historic District, Landscaping and Lighting District fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-241, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the Historic District, Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-242, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the infill area, Landscaping and Lighting District fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-243, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the infill area, Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 23-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-244, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the Johnson Ranch Landscaping and Lighting District fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-245, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the Johnson Ranch Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-246, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the North Central Roseville Specific Plan, Landscaping and Lighting District fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-247, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the North Central Roseville Specific Plan, Landscaping and Lighting District fiscal year 23-24, adopting Resolution Number 23-248, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the Northwest Roseville Specific Plan, Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-249, ordering the levy and collections of assessment within the Northwest Roseville Specific Plan, Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-250, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for Olympus Point Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-251, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the Olympus Point Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-252, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the Riverside Avenue Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-253, ordering the levy and collections of assessments within the Riverside Avenue Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-254, amending and/or approving the engineer's annual levy report for the Vernon Street Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopting Resolution Number 23-255, ordering the levy and collections of assessments within the Vernon Street Landscaping and Lighting District for fiscal year 2023-24. With that, at this time, may I please have a motion to approve?
I was wondering if we could hear that one more time. Just kidding. Sorry. So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll start our roll call with Councilmember Albert.
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Yes.
Councilmember Rakucci.
Yes.
Mayor Haudashelt. Yes. And the record will reflect that Vice Mayor Berlusconi is excused.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Dennis. All right, now we'll move to the portion of our evening where we'll have council reports and public comments. I'm sorry, we'll open it for a second round of public comments on non-agenda items. All right, we'll close that. I'll ask our city manager,
No further reports, Mayor.
ask our city attorney.
Nothing from me, thank you.
All right, I'll invite the council, starting with Councilman Albert, provide any reports on things?
It was a long time since we met last. A lot of stuff has happened. The Aspire neighborhood on the very western side of Roseville, kind of middle west, they formed a neighborhood association, part of Arcona, and I got to attend their very first official meeting. Well, semi-official. They have to get approved by Arcona, then they'll be official. Yesterday, Councilmember Rakucci and I got a tour of the Ophir facility. They have some very large pump stations there, and they get water from the American River and the Yuba River. They cross right at that point, 225 feet below this big, huge pump house with a lot of pumps in it. And they pull water and they send it down to a foothill treatment plant, and then it ends up coming into Roseville. It's just another backup source of water for us. And it was really nice touring and seeing the technology and hearing the plans for the future, because they're going to be building a full water treatment plant at Ophir to help future growth in South Placer. I got to attend back on May 18th, yes, that was a long time since we met, the Sacramento Host Breakfast, which is a lot of state electeds and other leaders from all over come up and meet for a big breakfast at the convention center. And the lieutenant governor was one of the keynote speakers, and Willie Brown was there, and it was he was just really open and honest about his campaign. It was very entertaining hearing what goes on behind the scenes of some of the state stuff. But it was neat hanging out with a lot of Roseville leaders. There were a lot of Roseville people there. And that's all I had to say there. I got a tour along with Melissa Aguiano. We went to the Quick Quack car wash manufacturing facility in Roseville, and that was really interesting. We couldn't take photos inside because it's proprietary, yes. But it was kind of a neat thing to see that they had chosen to come to Roseville, and they have growth plans, and so it's just neat to have them here. And it was eye-opening and kind of a fun experience to go through it. And then on the 20th, there was a Placer Pride event, and the organizers decided to hold it at Royer Park again. And I know our police and fire and Parks and Rec were out there. There were a bunch of different booths, and it was just kind of a neat event to attend, very inclusive. And it was nice that that was held in Roseville, and there were no problems or anything there. It was just a fun day, I think, for everybody. And then the last thing, several of us attended a groundbreaking of the Ivy assisted living community, and it's just next to the new Nugget off of Blue Oaks. And so that was kind of a nice new feature coming. I know a lot of people are having a hard time getting their parents into a place close by, and because everything keeps filling up, and so there'll be more opportunity down the road. Sorry for that long report, but it's been a while.
It has been a while. Councilwoman Rakucci, you sit on the PCWA Roseville Committee with Councilman Albert.
Yeah, I echo what Councilmember Albert said. I really enjoyed being there. We went up there and we were at the pump station. I was an elected board member of PCWA in the early 2000s, and I was on when we started and we were building it. So to go up there and seeing it really and totally in action was really great. Their water treatment plant is just coming online, and it's just coming into this period of time of future planning. They always had Roseville, City of Roseville, and PCWA always planned for the future,
and any evolutionary things that are happening and things that we foresee for the future, we're doing. So it's exciting. And I'm real happy that they're there because we're looking at different ways that we can get water to the city of Roseville if we need to. And so the second thing I was just going to say is congratulations to all the graduates, whether you graduated from college, high school, middle school, kindergarten, and going to first grade. It's an exciting time in everybody's life. I had a grandson who graduated from East Nicholas in a group of 87 kids. I graduated from Roseville High with 400, but it's graduation is fun no matter how you do it. And so I just wish them all well and a happy, exciting future in whatever they decide to do. And that's it.
Right, Councilmember Mendoza.
I just have one. The Roseville Music in the Park Summer Concert Series kicks off this Sunday at Royer Park. If you haven't been to Royer in the past couple months, there's been a lot of updates and updated landscaping and improvements there. And it's a beautiful park to see a concert. The concert's free. It kicks off at 6 o'clock, and the first concert, it starts on June 11th, and it's every Sunday going through September 10th. And they're kicking it off with the Bob Seger tribute band, Turn the Page, and there'll be plenty of food and beverages and things to do for the kids. So if you have time on Sunday, I'd encourage you to go out there and support that nonprofit and take in some good music at the same time. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you can't make Sunday, Tuesday night, downtown Tuesday night is kicked off last night with a Bruno Mars tribute band, and that's going through the summer. So come on down and Vernon Town Square because Wind Down Wednesday's over, and we've moved the calendar up to Tuesday. Tomorrow's going to be a really.
Oh yeah.
I lost my. Where did my Parks and Rec director?
She's across the street working, she said.
She said she went, all right. Tomorrow's going to be a memorable day as we break ground on the soccer complex out in West Sacramento. Roseville.
They wish they were us.
All right, yeah. Yeah, that's, can you roll back the tape? Let's get this straight. In West Roseville, off of Westbrook, right? So anyway, this past weekend I got to, get to do some things that really, it's a pleasure to do. So last at our budget workshop, I had a packet that had a hat in it. Major League Baseball has a promotion this coming weekend, June 9th through the 11th, called Play Ball. So they're partnering with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. They ask that they do a tip of the hat. So I went to Mahaney Park, where Wood Creek Little League, thanks to our Parks and Rec staff for helping arrange that. That's one of those wonderful things where my day job and these duties came together. One of my Farm Bureau managers' grandsons three of her grandsons play in Wood Creek Little League, so I got to meet the grandsons and do a tip of the hat on that. This past weekend was the 30th Bike Fest. I didn't ride my bike down, but I could have gotten it repaired. So but the Kiwanis had you could get your helmet fitted, you could get your tag in your helmet. A variety of things going on that day. Councilwoman Rakucci, Councilmember Mendoza, and myself were at the Memorial Day recognition.
That's right.
At Roseville. And then I went over to Rockland. Rockland did their inaugural Veterans Day. They had council members Joe Gallardo, Bill Halden, their police chief, supervisor Jim Holmes speak at that. Councilmember Albert and I went to what's called Guru Vandana, which is the Hindu celebration of teachers. Guru means teacher. So we were at Diamond Creek for the celebration. We got costumed up. It was really just the ceremony around the appreciation of that was really, really good. And I went to Los Cerritos Roseville Neighborhood Association on the 24th, where Supervisor Gore was talking about the homelessness task force. We've got a meeting coming up on that here in a little bit. I think the most important thing, there's a lot of important things here. One of the more important things is that on June 16th, SACOG, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, is launching their blueprint conversation in Folsom. It's a half-day event. That's really where they're looking at what the housing and transportation, the intersection of those two should look like into the future. I got to go to a pancake breakfast. Who doesn't like pancakes, right? And I got to meet a young lady who is struggling with, I'm going to mispronounce it, hypocephalitis, which is an enlarged heart. And speaking of an enlarged heart,
She had encephalitis, wouldn't she? Was it head?
yeah, I may have mispronounced it, but I think the most important thing is that the
You had a
parents.
pancake breakfast for her.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay.
You know who has a big heart here?
Who?
Our city manager, because our city managers, this family goes to our city manager's church.
Ah.
And so not only, they came up and they mentioned that, and the day before, when I was tipping the hat, another parishioner with our city manager introduced himself. So not only are you doing the job here, but you're doing the job out in the community, so thanks for that. Last thing, this will be the last thing. Between now and when we meet again, there will be Father's Day, so those fathers, congratulations. Say hello, thank your father, right? And with that, I think we'll adjourn till our June 21st meeting. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.